Well, here at home, Vice President J.D. Vance is wading directly into the conflict in Minneapolis, announcing that he'll visit the city tomorrow to rally support for ICE officers. Minneapolis has become a flashpoint for immigration enforcement as the Department of Homeland Security carries out ICE raids coast to coast. But beyond deportations, the administration is also restricting who can legally enter the country, suspending immigrant visa processing for people from 75 countries. That includes those the administration says may be likely to rely on government assistance for basic needs. The decision is now having real consequences for some Americans, among them families in the middle of international adoptions. Courtney Pickford joins us now. She was in the middle of adopting a child from Colombia. That process is now on hold. Courtney, thank you for being here. I want to start out by asking when and how did you learn that your adoption process was put on hold, and how close were you to finally being able to be matched with a child?
Yes. Hi, John. Thanks for having me. I found out on the 14th. Another family had posted about it on a Columbia adoption group that I belong to on Facebook. I'm hoping to be able to travel this summer to go bring my child home. I'm actively reviewing files and hoping to be matched shortly.
Have you been given any guidance or timeline on when visa processing for Colombia potentially could resume?
No, unfortunately, the freeze is phrased to be indefinite, so we're just kind of on hold. It reminded me initially of what happened to China, how when they closed their doors to international adoption back in fall of 24, they were kind of on hold for a few years before that happened, and it's really shocking because historically, these types of visa freezes have had exceptions for adoption visas. So I think we're all just kind of hoping that this is an oversight and it can be corrected quickly.
When you learned, I've got to ask, what went through your mind? What were you feeling? I think you said that you had been involved in the adoption process in Colombia for about a year?
It's been 2 years. I've been on the waiting list for a year now. So yeah, when I first read it, it was it's kind of a gut punch. It takes the air out of your lungs. You're just moving along with the process, and then all of a sudden the brakes get slammed. There's some whiplash there.
Describe your family situation now. Do you have other kids, or was this child that you would be paired with in Colombia going to be your first child?
Yeah, this is going to be my first child. I'm a single mom by choice, and this is how I feel the Lord has led me to grow my family. So it's been a really exciting process and a lot of anticipation, looking forward to this. And, being able to look at files now, and I'm very close to a match, and having this little face and little life that I'm able to be praying for and thinking might be my child. It's very emotional to have this all of a sudden put on pause.
You just talked about your faith. Can you talk about or explain how that led you to look at adoption?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe adoption is very close to the Lord's heart. We are adopted in Christ as his children. And so I think it's a beautiful picture that I'm able to, share the Lord's love in that way by adopting a child. It's very much a faith journey every day from day one. It's active waiting by definition in this adoption process. And, not knowing how long the wait will be, and lots of speed bumps. But, God is so faithful all along the way. He's been faithful to train my heart to trust in him with every step. And so that doesn't change, right? Like, that's life in a nutshell. So I know he's faithful to meet me in the uncertainty, even in geopolitical mess. He's working all things for our good and for his glory. And so, what better place to start than trusting him with that?
A good word there. You had just mentioned uncertainty. I want to ask, what's the hardest part of the uncertainty, living in the uncertainty as you wait to be a prospective parent?
I think the hardest part right now is the decision. So again, I said I'm very close to having a match and being able to go and hopefully bring my child home this summer. So with this being indefinite and not knowing, it's weighing, is it the better option to move forward with adoption, not knowing if and when I'll be able to go bring this child home, or do I step back and leave the child available so that somebody else can adopt them and they're not remaining in the orphanage or the foster home. And it's highly emotional. So there's a lot of prayer going on. And honestly, John, I have it easy. I know families through this adoption group who are literally stranded in Colombia right now. They're in limbo. they can't bring their new little American citizens home until we get those adoption visas opened back up. So there's a lot of prayer.
What specifically are you praying right now as far as a resolution, and are you planning to reach out to your member of Congress to solicit help?
Yeah, I actually already have spoken with my congressman's office and encouraged others to do so. I know this is a State Department issue, and so it's got to go higher up. So I'm just hoping that they can help with the awareness and get the voice out there so that the people who need to do action to make this open up will. For prayers, right now I'm just praying that adoption exception gets added to the visa processing freeze so that those families can be united, so children can be brought home, so they don't have to walk through even more trauma in their little lives.
Courtney, I'm so sorry we are out of time, but I just wanted to say thank you for making time to be with us to share your perspective, and it's an important one so that people know what's going on. Courtney Pickford, thank you so much for being with us.